So these are the Chang Dao Hot Springs, and they're great. They're right off the side of the road, they're free, they're open to the public, and they have this kind of community feel. And the tubs are hot, the water's hot, and it's right next to this cold river, and so you can do the nice hot, cold cycling. Sitting around the campfire last night, I got talking to Ben. He told me about a hidden hot spring just up north of Chiang Dao. So I got the directions from him, and he said to go north of Chang Dao, turn left on the 1322, go a couple hundred meters down the road, and on the right-hand side, you'll see a place where people dump a bunch of trash, park your bike there, and then head into the woods down the trail. I can feel the heat coming up from the river. Warm breath of sulfur air. And just heading upstream here. Maybe it'll get warmer. Maybe I can find the source of this heat. Maybe there'll be some bathing maidens. Definitely being careful stepping into these sulfuric creeks. Heard too many stories of people getting scalded to death at Yellowstone, jumping into Old Faithful and whatnot. Moving up the river, the rocks are getting more of this white color. Whatever mineral is present in the water is becoming more concentrated. This is the spring right here. You can see it bubbling out. Another spring there. And through here, it's too hot to touch. Then it comes down and mixes with this creek here. And right here is this glorious bathtub of perfectly mixed hot water set in these stones. Oh, it's hot. Too hot. Oh, wow. I think these have to be my favorite hot springs in the world. They're completely natural, undeveloped, not even a stone pool set up by some people. It's just this little bathtub that you can lie in the jungle, no one else around, right next to the source. Perfect hot springs. So if you keep going north of Chiang Dao, all the way to the border with Myanmar, there's this border town called Arunotai, and there's a Chinese community in that border town, and they make some really good Chinese food. Let's go inside and get some border town noodles. Right before you reach Arunotai are the Bong Ang Hot Springs. I was essentially alone here, just me and this scruffy hot spring guardian and another influencer who was taking pictures of her dog. I had the bathing area all to myself. I really liked this tree coming out of the bathing area with the big roots framing the pool, holding the pool in. The pool wasn't hot enough for me. And when I do hot cold cycling and go to saunas or hot springs, I like to sit in there until I feel too hot. And that's usually about 5 or 10 minutes in. I get this feeling that my heart is beating faster, sweat coming out of my hair, and this anxiety that I think it's my body telling me, if you don't get out here soon, you're gonna die. And I call that the fear of death. I get the fear of death, and I want that in these hot springs or these saunas, because then I get out and I go in the cold plunge and I feel this amazing relief. And I want my cold plunge to be cold enough too, that after a while in the cold plunge, 2, 3, 4 minutes, I start to get that same anxiety, that same fear of death, the same increase in my heart rate. And then I know it's time to get out of the cold. And once I get out of the cold, I feel like an exultant warrior. Just feel this amazing power and light emanating from my body. And for the next couple hours, I have this very mellow, relaxed feeling. Hot spring culture is not so developed in Thailand. There are a ton of hot springs, but Thai people don't really seem to like hot springs very much. They'll come with their family and put their feet in, have a picnic, enjoy the nature, but they don't like to put their whole bodies in. If they bathe, they prefer to do it in private rooms. They're not into the hot-cold cycling. They're not into the getting too hot and then cold plunging. Maybe that comes from cultures where people get too cold and they want to counter that with getting too hot. In Thailand, you're always kind of trying to not be hot. It's hot already, so maybe that's why people don't want to go to hot springs and get more hot. It's great for me because there's these hot springs all over Thailand, and usually there's hardly anyone there. So this hot spring had this awesome potential for a cold plunge. It has this pump and creek right next to it, but they designed it so they have the baths like a couple hundred meters from the creek, making it super difficult to do hot cold cycling and cold plunges. Come on, guys. Unfortunately, these geysers are not real geysers. They're just pressurized pipes pumping steam. My skin is pink. That's how I like it. I'm a lobster. You can see the Thai people. They're very cautiously dipping their toes in. The farang is just... Maybe for your first hot spring experience or for a family hot spring experience, it's a nice place. Got a lot of facilities, clean, got places to eat, lots of places to take pictures. But for the real hot spring enthusiasts, it's a bit lacking. There's no cold plunge. Can't find that edge.